We all want the best for our dogs, but we all make mistakes when interacting with them. Fixing some of these mistakes will totally change how well your dog learns and the quality of your relationship. It is Jose here from Train Me Please. Let's go. 1. Unclear communication. The first thing to understand is that dogs are much more visual than auditory when they are trying to understand something from us. Dogs react to what we do, how we move, and to the tone of how we speak, but not really to the content of a full sentence that we might say. When cueing a dog for a certain behavior, we should try to be consistent and clear. As an example, when cueing a dog to lie down and assuming that the dog knows this behavior, the hand cue should always be the same. Avoid sometimes using the whole hand, other times just a finger pointing down, palm facing up versus facing down, etc. With that said, teaching the dog to respond to it in various environments and from various distances is totally a great idea. When calling your dog, avoid saying here sometimes and come here right now other times. Use the same word and tone for a given behavior. Also, avoid repeating the cue several times super quickly. If you need to re-cue something, at least give it a short pause before cueing again. In sum, make it easy for them and keep it consistent. 2. Incoherence. It is super confusing for dogs if sometimes they can greet a person by jumping and other times they can't. Same for begging for food at the table. Decide on how you want the dog to behave. Set up the environment so that they are super likely to show the behavior you want to see, and then lavishly reinforce them for doing the correct behavior. For jumping, make it a rule that the dog needs to sit or station on a mat for people to greet them. You might need to have the dog on lead when people come to your house, or even behind a baby gate initially while they are learning how to greet visitors. Another big issue is people dealing with dogs differently. Perhaps one member of the family walks the dog without a care in the world about whether or not they are pulling. Another family member might be trying to teach the dog to walk nicely without pulling. For better results, everyone should be on the same page. 3. Punishing the dog. There's plenty of evidence that punishing dogs, be it with verbal or physical corrections, is a terrible idea. It slows down learning and damages your relationship with them. Even worse, people often punish dogs with terrible timing and context. The classic example here is coming home and finding out that the puppy has peed on the floor. Giving the puppy a verbal correction for this is a bad idea, and it even breaks an important learning principle. Specifically, it goes against the law of contiguity, which states that in order to establish an association between two events, they must occur close together in time and space. In other words, the puppy will have no clue why you might be disappointed. Punishing dogs creates anxiety, and anxiety makes it harder to internalize new information. This works for kids, partners, and co-workers as well, by the way. 4. Low rates of reinforcement. I've seen it all the time in puppy classes, at the park, at dog events, everywhere. Dog tutors have a tendency to underestimate how many treats per minute are required when teaching a dog something new or in a distracting environment. If you are finding it hard to train your dog when out and about, try dramatically increasing your rate of reinforcement and you should see some improvements. Offer more treats more often for the behaviors you want to see increase in the future. There's one other thing that is important here, and that's number 5. Low-value reinforcers. Dogs will learn best if they really want the reinforcers you have. If you want your dog to disengage from another dog on the street and look at you, it would generally be a good idea to have a really high-value food reinforcer. Patting them in that scenario is probably not gonna cut it. Asking your dog to sit at home can probably be done with some dry treats. Asking them to ignore a squirrel at the park will require cooked chicken, breast or cheese or something really yummy for the dog. Also, even though there are some general tendencies with dogs, each of them is an individual with their own preferences. You should try to determine which reinforcement works best for your dog in any given situation. There's more to come, but first, could you quickly click the like button under the video so that it reaches more people? Super cute photo as a thanks. 6. Showing food before getting the behavior. A lot of people will show the dog the reinforcer as part of the cue to get them to do something. This can be problematic in many ways. One of them is that it can make our cues much weaker. A clean unit of behavior should be cue, behavior, reinforcer, not reinforcer/cue, behavior, reinforcer. With that said, showing a piece of food first to guide a dog into a given behavior, a process known as luring, is generally okay, but with one important caveat. As soon as we have some behavior happening, we should fade out the food lure so that we get to a place where the cue starts the behavior. 7. Ignoring management. I see this a lot, especially with new puppies and new adoptions. New dog owners will often bring the puppy home, let them loose in the house and just hope for the best. Well, the best does not happen often in those situations. Often the dog will make choices that are not the ones we want. The best thing to do here is to use management to minimize unwanted behaviors and maximize wanted ones. This means using the leash, exercise pens, crates, baby gates, and offering them plenty of appropriate activities to do. Minimize mistakes and maximize correct behavior. If you address all these elements that I covered in this video, I think you have a pretty decent chance of improving how your dog learns and the quality of your relationship. Hey, I'm really sorry to interrupt. I really like your content. Is there any way that I can make a contribution and support the work that you do? I guess that an easy, informal way to do that would be to just buy me a coffee or a few coffees. I can leave a link in the description below. Okay. Now, do me a favor and leave me a comment down below with the keywords "dogs are the best." That will let me know that you watched the video to this point. So, dogs that jump when greeting people. Would you like to learn what to do about it? You've got it right here. Obrigado, pessoal, e até à próxima.